Hi VC, Mark again at Create Diggers of the World Unite. Happy New Year to everyone. I know that 2022 is still pretty much in its infancy, but I hope you're all having a really good one. So today I'm going to do my response video to Rob Walker's 2022 vinyl tag. Rob's done an absolutely sterling job of putting together 22 questions. I really enjoyed taking part in this, as well as really enjoying watching other people's responses. So I'm just going to get straight into it. So yeah, question one, favourite album of 2021. About 3 weeks ago I went to a charity shop. Well, there's about 3 charity shops really local to where I live, and one of them has had the same records for like years, never changed, and another one's never really had any records, but I'll still pop it on the off chance. And a few weeks ago I went in, and sure enough, a new lot of records had been dropped off. There was 2 that I picked out. One was Cocktail Twins, a 12-inch of a song from the Siren on 4AD label. Absolutely brilliant. The other one, I was completely blown away to find this. This is definitely my top charity shop find of the year. It's definitely my top 10 of all time charity shop finds. It's Tom Waits' Rain Dogs. Now I have this on CD, but I never thought I'd actually have this on vinyl, simply because I wasn't prepared to pay the prices that this record commands on the likes of eBay and Discogs. And as for finding it in a charity shop, the thought never entered my head. I just didn't expect to find this in a charity shop. This was when the COVID restrictions first lifted back on, was it the 12th of April, wasn't it, earlier this year? And that day I was actually off work. I just spent the whole day, but I planned my whole day to just go around charity shops. And I planned to start my day at one specific one local. We got like this huge Asda's, and there's a McDonald's in the same car park as where the Asda's is, and then behind that there's like a mini industrial estate, and there's a charity shop there that's become one of my kind of favourite charity shops. They seem to consistently have really good turnover of records in there. So I thought, I'm going to start off there, and I set off, and I ended up, I was a little bit hungry, I had no breakfast, so I called at McDonald's on the way. And then when I got to the charity shop, I pulled up, and there's a guy walking out carrying about half a dozen records. I don't know what the rest were, but the one on top was Chameleon, Strange Times. It was a really rare one with the pink border. I was absolutely gutted, and I thought, if it wasn't for that extra hash brown that I'd ordered, I would have got there before this guy, and I would have happily walked away with this copy of the Chameleon, Strange Times, but I didn't. And it's kind of bitter taste in my mouth ever since. So when I found this, I was really chuffed, and my daughter said to me, she says, does that make up for not getting the Chameleons album? And I thought, you know what, it almost does. The feeling of overwhelming joy that I felt when I found this was on par. It kind of negated the feelings of overwhelming sadness and general pissed offness that I felt when I saw this guy walking out with a couple of Chameleons. So anyway, that's so for me, that's my favourite record this year, and it's Tom Waits' Rain Dogs. So a record by my first live act. I can't include the first bands I saw, because the first bands I saw was when I was about 11 years old, back in probably like 1981. And me and my friend Craig, we'd gone to, in the local scout centre near where we lived in Eccles. I don't know who had organised it, but there was this kind of concert of lots of local rock bands. And there were 3 bands on, and I can still remember the names. There was Overdrive, My Old Gold, and a band called Fallen Angel. And I don't think any of them, with the exception of Overdrive, I don't think any of them actually brought any records out. Overdrive did bring one album out, but I don't own it. But the first proper gig I went to was probably 2 years after that, 1983, and I saw Iron Maiden for the first time. And I've got a load of Iron Maiden, but the record I'm going to choose is actually a bootleg. And I'm picking this because this was recorded on that tour. It was the 1983 World Peace Tour. This wasn't the gig I was at. I went to see the Manchester Apollo at Hardwick. This was recorded 2 weeks later, I think, in Dusseldorf, I think it was. What? Stockholm, sorry. Yeah, this was recorded 2 weeks later, but it's the same tour, so so that's Iron Maiden. And the reason why it's called Heavy Birthday is because apparently it was Nico Matt Bray's birthday, and halfway through the show they kind of bring him from behind the drums. Everyone, including the audience, sing Happy Birthday to him. I think he pelted him with custard pies, and he goes back to his kit, so that's what it's called. So that's the that's the record from the first band that I ever saw live. Next up, record of duos. I don't, with the exception of some Simon and Garfunkel albums, I don't really have any albums of duets, but I do have one album with some duets on it, and it's Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds Murder Ballads. There are 2 duets on it, one that he does with PJ Harvey, and then there's a second one that's probably more familiar to people. It's one that he did with Kylie Minogue, Where the Wild Roses Grow. I absolutely love Nick Cave. I love the stuff he did with the Bad Seeds. I love the stuff he did with the Birthday Party. Absolutely fantastic stuff. So that's my duets. So I know that Rob Walker's pet hates is people that drink during videos, but I've got really dry. I think I've got coke and I've got really dry throat. So sorry, Rob. Record still in the shrink. This was a bizarre one, this, because I actually, when Rob did his video, I kind of messaged him and said it's a good excuse for me to go out and buy a brand new record now, so I don't actually have any that are still in the shrink. And then Rob says, oh, you just have to be sealed. So I've got getting on for a couple of thousand albums, and I've only got 2 that are still in the shrink, and by sheer coincidence, they're both in this video. Not by design, but well, the first one is obviously. So the first one is Prince Purple Rain. This is the most I've ever paid for a record in a charity shop, and it was still sealed when I picked it up. I paid £8 for this about 2 years ago. Absolutely fantastic. I do like Prince, absolutely fantastic album. But yeah, this one was, I wasn't sure whether it was original 1984 release. Turns out it started, this is actually 2009 reissue, so I'm not sure whether it's an official 25th anniversary reissue, because it would have been 25 years, wasn't it? 2009, I think the original came out in 1984. Or whether it's just coincidence that it came out 25 years after, I don't know. But anyway, so that's my record that's still in the shrink. Concept album, I'm going to go with Marillion's Fugazi. Do love Marillion. This is probably, I don't know, it's a close call between this and Script for Jester's Tears, which is my favourite. But I absolutely love this album. The title track alone is just a phenomenal tune. It's not a bad tune on it, to be honest. Absolutely fantastic. I remember getting this back again. I got this when I was about, when it came out in 1983, I thought it was about 13, and my mum wouldn't have had an idea what she was going buying, so I think she must have sent my brother off into Manchester to buy it for me for Christmas. And I found it by accident a couple of weeks before Christmas. It was hidden behind behind the dresser in my mum and dad's bedroom. And I remember opening it because I'd already bought the 12-inch of Assassin, which was taken from this album, and I kind of took it out of the shrink so I could read the words to Assassin, and then I kind of put it back in the bag again and re-hid it behind the dresser, and then acted all surprised on Christmas Day. Brilliant album. A record I've not yet got around to playing. So I got a couple of Neil Young albums for Christmas. I got the latest one that he's done with Crazy Horse, Balm, which I've played that a few times, and I'm absolutely loving that. Yeah, love that album. But I've had a lot on this last few weeks. I've not, which is the reason why I've not had a chance to make many videos, but I've not had a chance to listen to much music either. And my daughter bought me this for Christmas, Neil Young, Songs for Judy. This is part of his archive series, and I've just not had a chance to play it yet. I will. I'm actually off. I finished work on Thursday. I'm not back until Tuesday, so I've got quite a bit of time off this week. So I will be playing this at some point before the week's out, hopefully. So yeah, Neil Young, Songs for Judy. An artist was introduced to in 2021. This isn't a new artist by any means, but it's new for me. This is also the second album that's still in the shrink, and it's just yeah, so that's a strange coincidence. So anyway, we watched a film earlier. I'm not sure what the film was called, but we watched some film earlier in the year, and they had a really good soundtrack to it. And there's a particular song that was playing, and I kind of picked up on some of the lyrics, typed them into Google, and it came up with a song called Crucify Your Mind by Rodriguez. So I went on YouTube just to make sure it was the right tune, which it was. And I bought this album on the strength of that one tune. Absolutely fantastic album. I mean, it's similar to, it's like a tuneful version of Bob Dylan. There goes some subs. But it's an absolutely fantastic album. Really, really, really good stuff. I was really pleased I found that. So yeah, that's my introduction to new artists in 2021, Rodriguez. Live album. I'm going to go with Stiff Little Fingers, See You Up There. Love Stiff Little Fingers. I've seen them several times over the years, including 1988. So this album was actually taken from. This is such a fantastic album. It's got a really good version of Love of the Common People on it. This is really, yeah, love this album. I originally had this on tape. My sister-in-law lives in Milton Keynes, and must be about 15, 20 years ago or so. And we'd gone down there to see her, and there was a big car boot on near where she lives. And I was kind of picking through some things, and I found this garden box of cassettes, and they had this on cassette, so I picked it up, and I just played it to death in my car for a long time. Fantastic album. Oh. Sorry, Rob. So a record with the price still on it. So I've gone for Stevie Wonder, Hotter Than July. This of course is the one with Master Blaster on it. £3. Actually, I got this in a charity shop, and usually they put their own price stickers on, but no, on this occasion they were happy to go with the one that was already still on there, so I got charged £3 with it. So yeah, Stevie Wonder, Hotter Than July. Record for a different continent. This is we've all done it. You know, we bought records purely based on the album cover, and this was one such record. This was apologies if I don't pronounce the name right, but it's Jun Fukumachi. And this is his interpretation of Sgt. Pepper's. He doesn't do the whole album. There's 6 tracks on it, which is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, The Little Help from My Friends, Lucy in the Sky, A Day in the Life, She's Leaving Home, and the Sgt. Pepper's Reprise. This is it's like electronic keyboard kind of jazz fusion. It's actually really good. Well, that's it. I bought this. I got a really good price for this, but I bought it purely for the album cover. You can see it's Sgt. Pepper from behind. Absolutely fantastic. It's an original. It's a Japanese press. It comes in the usual kind of polyester sleeve. I'm assuming at some point it would have had an Obi strip, but obviously that's not there now. So yeah, Sgt. Pepper. Punk album. I've gone with Conflict. It's time to see who's who. Absolutely love Conflict. If you like that kind of hardcore, so like anarcho punk that in the similar vein to Crass and Subhumans, that kind of thing, you'll like this. It's a fantastic album. Really good condition as well, actually. Yeah, so that's Conflict. It's time to see who's who. This was probably the toughest one for me. An album with a sporting theme on the cover. The only one, this is sort of like quite a tenuous link, but it's Roxy Music, Flesh and Blood, with javelin throwers on the front. It's the best I can do, I'm afraid. So there you go, that's the album cover with a sporting theme. Jazz album, I'm going to go with, this is, thanks to the vinyl community that I got this. I've heard quite a few people wax lyrical about John Coltrane's Love Supreme. So I kind of thought, I'll give it a go. I bought this. It's on the original Impulse. It's a reissue on the Impulse label. It's on a really nice kind of, it's like a minty, limey, green coloured vinyl. Yeah, it sounds fantastic. I say it took a few plays, to be honest. I don't think jazz is something that comes natural to me, but yeah, it took a few attempts, but I can see where people are coming from. It's a fantastic album. So that's John Coltrane's Love Supreme. Greatest Hits album. Black Sabbath's Greatest Hits. This was my introduction to Black Sabbath. I swapped this with my brother. I can't remember what I swapped it for, but I gave him something, and in return I got this and Scorpions Tokyo Tapes double live album. I'm not sure. I can't remember what I swapped it for him. But either way, this was my introduction to Black Sabbath. Everything you'd expect to be on here is on here. Paranoid and IB Changes, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. It's all on here. So that's Black Sabbath's Greatest Hits. Where are we? Trying to keep up. Album with at least 8 people on. So I've gone for Frank Zappa's Tinseltown Rebellion album. I'm not sure how many people are there, but it's a lot more than 8. This good album. This was the second Frank Zappa album I ever got. The first one being Hot Rats. I absolutely loved Hot Rats, and then I went and bought this, which does include a live version of Peaches on Regalia, which obviously was on Hot Rats. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Film soundtrack. So I'm going to go with, this is my favourite Christmas film of all time, and it's the musical version of Scrooge with Albert Finney playing Scrooge. This is such a good album. We watched this recently over Christmas. I think the reason why I've got such an affinity with this album is, well, this film rather, is because when I was at primary school, must be about 8, 9 years old, and I was in the choir, and we did a production of this, and I really loved singing the songs. And then obviously to get the album with the songs on it, just brings back a lot of memories. Yeah, I absolutely love that. So that's the film version, the musical version, I should say, of Scrooge. Is it my favourite version of Scrooge? I'm not sure. Maybe a toss-up between this and the original black and white version with Oh, thingy. Alistair Sim playing Scrooge. Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely love that. VCLT. I don't actually have any VCLT. What I do have though is every New Year's Eve, my wife and myself get together with some close friends. A friend of mine called John and his wife. I've known John for like over 40 years. I'm never like so 13, 14 years old. And back in the day, John was a massive John Duran fan as well as like some kind of 80s more rock pop type stuff. And he hasn't got a record, he hasn't had a record player for years, but he's still got his records. I mean, we were around there New Year's Eve and we were talking about my channel and my records. And he brought down his bag of records and he gave me two. One was a 12-inch of U2's New Year's Day and the other one was REM's Green, which was really nice of him. So yeah, it's not VCLT, but it was given to me from somebody else's collection. So thanks, John. Appreciate that. A record with no writing. Okay, so I've got. This isn't an album. This is the 10-inch. I've just realised. Well, I've missed one off. I've missed the box set, which I'll come to in a second. This was this is a double 10-inch single, and it's Killing Joke in Excelsis. There's 2 discs. Each one is on red vinyl. I've kind of snuck Killing Joke in there just because I'm going to see Killing Joke in April. I can't wait. This will be my first gig since before lockdown. And it's at the Albert Hall in Manchester in April, and I really can't wait for that. So yeah, so that's Killing Joke in Excelsis. The one I've missed off, I'm not sure I've done it, but I've missed off the box set. So the box I'm going to go with is Neil Young's Way Down the Rust Bucket. Absolutely fantastic. I know Neil Young's kind of featured quite a lot in this video, but this was such a fantastic box set. It's really well packaged as well. It's a 4-album box set. Well, each LP is essentially like an LP in its own right. It comes in its own LP kind of cover, and each with a poly lined in a sleeve. So it's really well packaged. It sounds absolutely fantastic. It really is. It's just probably, I've got quite a bit of Neil Young's live material, and I think this is probably definitely going to be one of my favourites. It's such a good box set. That well packaged and sounds absolutely fantastic. So that's Neil Young, Way Down the Rust Bucket. No writing. 7-inch single. This is one of my most kind of treasured vinyl possessions. This is the original first press of Iron Maiden's Sanctuary, the one that's uncensored. So basically, I think the story is when this was released, there were 1 or 2 reported attacks on prominent MPs. So the record was withdrawn, and then it was kind of reissued with the eyes on Maggie Thatcher censored out. But this is one of the original first press that's the uncensored one. It's in absolute flawless condition. This is probably as good as you're going to find to like a mint condition copy of this. There's not a crease on the cover. The vinyl itself is absolutely false condition. Got this at a record fair in Manchester. We used to do record fairs back at Piccadilly, and it was about, I don't know, 1985, 86. It's paid a lot less than it's worth now. But yeah, so that's Iron Maiden Sanctuary. A coloured vinyl. So I'm going to go again. This is Soundgarden, Super Unknown. This is an OG. When this was put out, I think it came in black vinyl as well as clear blue or orange vinyl. I don't think anyone's worth more or more rare than the other in terms of coloured vinyls. But mine is the clear vinyl. There we go. So yeah, Soundgarden, Super Unknown. The originals, the OGs like this of this album these to become worth the exchanging, and they're selling for some ridiculous amounts of money on like eBay and Discogs. So I'm really pleased to still have that. Fantastic album as well, really good. I mean, it's got Black Hole Suns on it, but for me, the standout track for me on it is Head Down. But the whole album, start to finish, really good. So that's Soundgarden, Super Unknown. And then finally, a record from 1982. And the one I'm going to go with is Captain Beefheart, Magic Band, Ice Cream for Crow. So this was the last album that Beefheart did before he kind of gave up music and focused more on his art. And I've got all Beefheart, all his studio recordings anyway, and this is up there with some of the best. It really is a good album. I mean, the title track Ice Cream for Crow is absolutely fantastic. I know I think I mentioned in my introduction video that just gave a brief kind of background on Beefheart's Bat Chain Puller album and how Frank Zappa, who he had been advertently funded it. I think it was Frank Zappa's manager Herb Cohen who funded the album who funded Bat Chain Puller, but he used some of Frank Zappa's royalty checks to fund it without Frank Zappa knowing. So when he found out, he was obviously a little bit pissed about it. Then he refused to hand over the masters, which put Beefheart in his position where he couldn't release his records. The only way he could do it was to actually re-record those tracks, and then he released them with other material on 2 other albums. So I think Shiny Beast, which was side title Bat Chain Puller, some of the tracks appeared on that, and 3 of the tracks appeared on this. So it's although it's mostly new material, there are also 3 tracks on here from the Bat Chain Puller album. But I absolutely love this. That's say it's the last album he did, but it's certainly up there with some of his best. So that's it. Here ends the video. I want to thank Rob again for compiling the questions for this. I've really enjoyed putting this together, and I really enjoy watching other people's videos. So thanks for watching. Take care and speak to you soon. Bye.